It is that time of the show when we say hello to today's guest. But first, we all walk, or we should, and most of us should walk more. Let's take a look at this brief video first.
Every October, schools around the world celebrate the joys of walking.
This entire month we're promoting walking to school. It's great for fitness, it's great for reducing traffic and pollution, and just having a great community feel.
During this Walktober, fall mornings come alive with the laughter and energy of school children gathering on our neighborhood streets. They are eager and excited to kick off their morning with a refreshing walk to school.
The value of walking to school with your kid, it's extra time you get to spend with your child, it builds community, you meet your neighbors, makes our neighborhood a safer place as well.
Everyone joins the fun, the students, the parents, the staff and administration, and our school and city leaders.
What a heartwarming video. I loved seeing all of those kids, and we are joined by Margot Ocañas, who is the Pedestrian Coordinator for the City of LA. And I'd like to see your business card. Is it a little longer than most people's with that time? But Margot, that's a wonderful video. Tell us a little about the production of that video and Walktober. And as part of Walktober, I love Walktober, by the way, and as part of that, Walk to School Day.
Absolutely. Well, firstly, the City of LA is now taking pedestrianism very seriously, and one of our key sections of the population that we really want to encourage and motivate to walk more is our student age population. So Walktober, and specifically the event, Walk to School Day, is part of a actually global initiative where every day, or for a particular day in October, schools host Walk to School events. And this past October was really the first time that the City of LA, through our position, created a citywide Walk to School initiative. And of our Los Angeles Unified School District, of which we have about 500 schools in the City of LA, approximately 55 schools hosted events. And it was just a fantastic day of students and teachers and staff and parents really focusing on the physical activity and the fun of walking, as well as really helping to highlight some of our safety concerns so that our department can work on improving them.
And you know, walking is probably one of the healthiest things we can do for ourselves. And kids today, you know, between, you know, heavy homework loads for some, or just, you know, being stuck on the sofa doing video games for others, you know, getting out there and walking gives so many health benefits. And if you can get the parents to walk with them, all the better. Now, when you said that there were events, what was happening at some of the schools to draw people out?
Well, I will say that currently about 33% of children in LA County are walking, and these programs are so important because we really would like to increase that share, but we do have to improve the public realm to encourage that. On Walk to School Day, there are a series of events. There are walking school buses, and those types of activity are.
I love that.
It's a walking school bus.
So there's someone there to keep an eye on the kids, so I as a parent can feel safe.
Absolutely.
And they're traveling in a group.
They are. They're a very noticeable group.
Do they carry the bus, or no, I'm just kidding.
You know, some of those kids are actually pretty strong.
Yeah, they probably do.
Absolutely. So, for example, at one of the elementary schools, they chose several intersections that were maybe a 15-minute walk away from the school, and parents and staff and school leaders and children would meet at those intersections. They carried posters. They actually made posters during school, so that was a way to get focused on that. And then they traveled to school together, and there was an event on the schoolyard.
Wow. And you know, hats off to you guys doing this, and I hope more cities across the country do it. And we'll be talking about a national trend in the next segment regarding that. But what a great way to get the word out and get people out. You know, especially now when we hear about the weather that's happening on the East Coast, you know, given where we live here, we don't really have an excuse not to walk. Now my dad grew up in Southern California and still claimed he walked to school in the snow uphill in both directions. I'm not really sure that he was being honest with me about that. But we have the climate to do that. So we're going to take a break, but when we come back, I want to talk more about this, safe routes to school, and about this national trend of pedestrianism.
Absolutely.
So don't go away. We will be right back. You are watching or listening to Ron Stark the Voice, coming to you from the beautiful KGEM studios in Old Town Monrovia. And our guest today is Margot Ocañas, who is the Pedestrian Coordinator for the City of LA. And Margot, in the first segment, we talked about Walktober and Walk to School today, but there's kind of a larger umbrella initiative over all of this, the Safe Routes to School program.
Absolutely. Safe Routes to School is both a nationally and state-funded program. There's a recognition in the transportation world, again, that walking and biking are very legitimate modes of transportation, and they would like to encourage that.
You think they're legitimate since we did both of those really before we drove cars?
Well, exactly. So now they're putting their money where their mouth is, and they're actually funding it more aggressively, which we're excited about. And obviously, we'd love to start with the younger generation. But Safe Routes to School is a program that provides funding for cities to implement what I'll call more pedestrian-friendly engineering, as well as education and encouragement programs. So our department is really a department of operations. So we really fully focus on putting some of those more friendly pedestrian tools in the street to facilitate safer crossing, better lightings, stronger stripings, changing distances to cross the street. So we hold that engineering side, and we do seek that funding from the state or the national funding. And then we couple it with encouragement or education programs, much like a Walk to School Day activity is an encouragement activity where we really try to enlighten people on how it can be fun, the great physical activity, but also listen to concerns such as parents' hesitancy to
have their kids walk to school anymore.
Exactly. So a combination of engineering, encouragement, education, and also working with our police department on the enforcement side.
Well, and as our society slowly and finally becomes more health conscious, it is funny that you mentioned that walking and biking are legitimate, because we're now becoming more aware of the benefits, not only to our personal health, but to our world, to our environment.
Exactly.
And I and my friends love to find places where we can go to and then have a walking or bicycling adventure. And there's more and more of those places coming up. And through your initiatives, one of them being People Street, I'd love to share that with our viewers and listeners. There's going to be a lot more opportunities to travel to a destination and then be out and about, either on foot or on bike.
Absolutely.
So tell us about People Street.
Absolutely. And I think both with Safe Routes to School and People Street, I think the undercurrent is we really would like to offer people choices. To date, it's been traditionally the auto choice. But through these initiatives, we're affecting the welcomingness and the attractiveness of that public realm. So people are incented to think about, well, perhaps I'll walk or bike. And People Street is what we classify as a placemaking program. So we like to look at our public realm, which is the sidewalks and the roadbed, and think about how they might be transformed into an area that really balances places for pedestrians, places for autos, places for bikes, and for transit. So the People Street program is an application-based program where communities can come forward to our department and identify a location within their neighborhood that they truly would like to transform. Perhaps there's an underutilized piece of roadbed that we can paint and it can become sort of the instant plaza. There may be a series of parking spaces in front of a restaurant or a venue where they're opting to, instead of having auto parking, they would like to put a parklet, which is really a sidewalk extension, populate it with chairs and plants and invite people to really linger in that area in front of those venues. So again, sort of a mini destination. Or a shop owner may decide, instead of a parking space, that they'd like to put bicycle parking through a bike corral. So again, incenting people that another means for coming to that venue is through bicycle.
And that makes sense for the cities to want to do that. If for nothing else, improving or increasing the quality of life issues within their own city. And the fact that you're making this available to them is just incredible. Now, if someone wanted to find out where some of these are already existing and where maybe some are planned, is there a resource?
Absolutely. It's peoplestreet.org, so www.peoplest.org, and it is a website very rich with projects to date and also very rich information on how to apply for one of these to come to your neighborhood.
And if they wanted direct access to your department, is there a website there?
It is. It would be www.ladot.lacity.org, and there will be a link to the pedestrian program.
Awesome. Margot, thank you for joining us. And I look forward to having you back and sharing more about these wonderful initiatives.
Great. It was an honor to be here. Thank you.
Jake Ducey grew up as one of the top high school recruits in basketball out of San Diego, and my life was based off whether I was in the papers and how many points that I scored. And ultimately, when I went to school to play college basketball and I was groomed for the prescribed lifestyle of society, which was gonna be I'd be a salesman for somebody else's company, and I realized none of that was fulfilling me. And I started reading inspirational books, and Jake Ducey evolved into someone that was looking for a little bit more than just validation from other people. And because of that, I realized there's a difference between learning it and living it. And
what was the turning point? Because you're young to have reached that turning point, and most people actually never do.
Yeah.
But there was something that impacted your life when you said, this doesn't fit. My life doesn't fit. There's got to be something better out there.
When I was in economics class freshman year, I asked my teacher about things that weren't pertaining to the book.